Campbell hard. First of all, they got to take care of the basketball. Second of all, they got to get back on defense. And Zaire Wade.
The idea of having a true legacy in terms of family is the wish and goal of many. Mainly because many parents would love for their children to follow their footsteps, especially when it's a thing like sports. However, that happens much more rarely than you might think, and those that don't happen don't often come from the sources you expect. An exception, though, might be on the horizon in the form of Bronny James, aka LeBron James Jr. He is on the path to go and be quite impressive in both college and the NBA, and yet the question is, how good is Bronny James at 15 versus his dad LeBron? Be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. 6. The birth of Bronny James. Before we dive into stats, we also need to look at the history of the relationship between LeBron and Bronny, because history is always important in matters like these. Bronny was born when LeBron was just 19 years old and already in the NBA. In fact, part of the reason LeBron skipped college was that he knew he needed to provide his soon-to-be wife and child, which ironically was changed rule-wise not long after LeBron made the jump. As a result of his success in the NBA, his family lived very well, so he had a lot of freedom growing up, except for when it came to sports. Now, don't get the wrong idea, LeBron didn't force him into any sports, but rather he said that because of injuries, he couldn't play things like hockey or football, which a lot of parents are doing for their kids nowadays, given our knowledge of concussions and such. And so, LeBron was honestly being a very responsible parent, and should be praised for what he did. As such, Bronny took to both basketball and soccer like a pro. So much so that he was already getting college recruitment offers at just age 10. Granted, that's a little excessive. Especially since you can show promise at one challenge level, but have the gap between players shrink easily when you get to a higher one. But trust us when we say that this kind of thing happens in many sports, even with non-famous kids. Colleges are very competitive in terms of getting the potential next big thing. Though, to be just as honest, even LeBron thought it was ridiculous, going so far as to say that it should be some kind of rules violation, which he's totally right about, as kids don't need that kind of pressure on them when they're so young. Going back to the basketball court, Bronny led his various teams to victory across many states and leagues, even getting titles as far back as 4th grade, all the way up to a recent year where his team went undefeated and won the title in Wisconsin, as well as holding his own at a Nike Under-16 competition where many scouts were watching. This was why many people were curious in Bronny from a young age. He was already showing he had it, even if it was just in small measure at the time. But as time went on, the desires of many to see Bronny James perform even more grew. 5. The move to LA. The big change for Bronny, though, came when his father got signed to the Los Angeles Lakers, which LeBron himself noted he did in part for his family, so his kids could be raised in the best schools. Bronny went to a school called Crossroads, and once he got to play basketball, he had 27 points in his first game. That's pretty impressive no matter what way you slice it, and it was definitely a sign of things to come. LeBron admitted that he was nervous for him because this was the beginning of it all, and that basketball raises bells in our house, so he knew what this meant. Which was further proven when he transferred to another school for his freshman year, Sierra Camden, which just so happens to be a school where the son of Dwayne Wade goes. Wade and LeBron have been tight since their Miami days, so their sons playing together is a match made in heaven in the minds of many, as well as allowing them to build their bond and potentially work with one another to grow their talents for what comes next. Their talents were indeed shown, and both sons could be major NBA superstars if things go their way. But for LeBron, he knew that just as much as he was helping his son with basketball, he needed to go and help him by just being a dad. 4. Being there for his son. Without a doubt, one of the things that definitely separates this particular father-son relationship from others is that obviously LeBron is famous, but he's not letting that go to his head. He's trying to be there for Bronny, and knowing when to push and when not to. In fact, LeBron said that the only thing that he regrets in regard to his son is his name. He didn't know that he was going to be a multiple-time MVP and a 4-time champ. He gave his son his name because he wanted to do better than his own father, whom he didn't really know. LeBron fully understands the unintentional pressure that Bronny's having to go through, as he had to do something similar in his own rise to fame. And he wants to make sure that no matter what happens, he's supporting his son throughout, which is a noble thing to do, and hopefully something that Bronny appreciates in his own right. 3. Like father, like son. Getting now to the basketball elements, it is a bit tough to judge how Bronny's playing compared to his father for a variety of reasons. First and foremost, he only finished his freshman year, and of course thanks to COVID-19, all sports were cancelled, which sucks because this gives Bronny a lot less experience going into the next years of his basketball career, which is invaluable, as LeBron himself will tell you. Because some players need that extra experience and competition to go and truly push themselves. In LeBron's freshman year, not only did he lead his team to the championship in Division 3, he scored 21 points on average, and then did 25 in the championship game itself. Then in his sophomore year, he averaged about 27 points per game, did a lot of rebounding, and his team repeated as champs. So right off the bat, LeBron has a major leg up on his son because his team wasn't just dominating, it got to do full seasons. Experience matters when you do the NBA and even college, which Bronny will have to go to due to the new rules implemented after LeBron went to the NBA. 2. Junior year. Jumping ahead in LeBron's life, his junior year wasn't just a breakout year in certain respects, it was the year he put just about everyone on notice. Even Sports Illustrated went all in on LeBron James' hype by putting him on the cover and saying he was the chosen one when he was just a junior in high school. That year, he averaged 29 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 3 steals. Yep, he did. Obviously, Bronny isn't a junior yet, and his sophomore year is going to be hampered in part by the pandemic. But even if given a full 2 years, it wouldn't be fair to expect him to put all these numbers up because frankly, LeBron was super special. A once-in-a-lifetime player, Bronny can still put up great numbers, but like that year for LeBron, unlikely. 1. The future of Bronny. So, given all this, what is the future of Bronny James? It's honestly unclear, and both Bronny and LeBron know it. We do know that colleges are scouting him, but as for where he'll end up, that's a total mystery. So where will he go? Will he only stay 1 year? How will he perform? It's all up in the air right now, and it will be a testament to his desire to play basketball to see what he does next and how he pushes through this adversity. Though being fair, things are looking better on the horizon side of things. First off, the global pandemic seems to be heading towards its conclusion via the passing out of vaccines. So next season will go on unimpeded, and you can bet LeBron is going to make sure his son has his vaccination, if he doesn't have it already. What's more, the colleges that come for Bronny will be more driven than ever to get him because of the cancellation of last year's NCAA tournament and the very compact version of this year's. It's still unclear how he'll do in college, but he'll at the very least have the ability to shine. The spotlight will be there, the rest is up to him. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at LeBron James Jr., aka Bronny James, and how he might be the next major NBA star if things go his way? Do you think that based on what he showed at the age of 15, that he might be the real deal? Do you think that LeBron is going to help him as much as possible to go and be the next major star? What NBA teams do you think are hoping to draft him when the time comes? Let us know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and we'll see you next time on the channel.